This is the Daily Dribble Podcast. Wait a second. Back it up a second. This is not the Daily Dribble Podcast today, lads.
What is it?
This is the Aussie No Dunks podcast.
Aussie No Dunks.
We are back. We're joined once again, Nick, Lee, Ro. We're back, the Daily Dribble team. We are once again joined by the lads from the Fifth and Dribble podcast, Locke and Matty B. Fellas, thank you for joining us once again here today.
Thank you for having us as always. The weather is fantastic up here on the mainland. I wonder how it is down there after we've kicked you off.
Mate, I tell you what, we are well and truly in the thick of winter here. We are rugged up to the chest. We are hating it.
Yep.
Hating it at the minute. We are not built for this, are we, Lee?
We're not. No.
I tell you what, like, what are you guys operating at in winter? Like 17, 18 degrees?
It was cold early winter. We had the big puffer jackets on. It was maybe 15 degrees, but at the moment we're about 18, 19 today, I think it was. Nice
today was beautiful. A couple beers were had in the sun. The jumper did come off while I engaged in a triple tower burger. I believe the local called it the notorious OG. It was that was delicious. But yeah, probably about 19, 20 today. Today. It was nice. It was good in the sun.
And whilst you do that, we're operating in 7 to 8 degrees here, aren't we, Rory?
Yeah, unfortunately so. I'm glad to see that you've got the shorts and T-shirts out, though, boys. It's
we do.
Refreshing to see, and I can't say it's something that we get to experience for the majority of the year, but oh well.
Nevertheless, nice. We'll live vicariously through you guys. But as we said again,
all those apples you have.
We will take them all. Yeah. Take every single one. But fellas, as we said, a big thank you for joining us once again. Today it's when we get our little groups together, it's a bit of a piss take. We just talk the shit. We're going to discuss today a couple of talking points from the NBA, the NBL, rattle through what your thoughts were on the NBA finals that wrapped up last week between the Warriors and Celtics. Ro, how are you coping at the minute, my man?
Yeah, look, I've had a bit of time to recover, but it was a tough week there, let's be honest. We know how I was, particularly after that Game 6 where... Yeah, it was a somber moment, but no, we're going to bounce back and look out next year because I think you've got something to look forward to, unlike maybe perhaps the Lakers, Nick.
No, mate, there's plenty to look forward to there. Don't you worry about that. The purple and gold will rise like a phoenix from the ashes. Don't you worry.
I'll believe it when I see it.
And then we'll also rip through some talking points on the NBA draft that occurred throughout the week. Before we get into it, though, guys, a big shout out to Spotlight Sports Network, Pop Culture Pros, and our main man, Lee McGrath, at the cover, who not only backs us up, but backs you boys at the Fifth and Dribble up too. And I believe...
praise be onto the cover, as always.
Praise be onto the cover. You guys have got a little hookup tomorrow as well, don't you?
Yes, we do have a little hookup. Keep an eye on the socials and what not. We going to be breaking down movie night, slumber party, bit of hustle, bit of Adam Sandler.
We like
little Netflix and chill. That sounds good.
Quickly for you boys, when you go to the movies, are you kind of popcorn guys? Are you the lollies and choc tops, or what are you going to go for?
Popcorn, but sometimes you got to put Maltesers in the popcorn.
What? Oh, mate, you're a rare breed.
You are.
I don't like salty and sweet, mate. That's what you like doing.
Don't knock it, boys. Don't knock it till you try it. I was also very against this and then jumped straight on it as soon as I tried it. However, myself, more of a lolly man.
Okay.
I hit up
feel like you're twisting our leg
a little bit of a round. It goes hard. It goes hard. No, it definitely goes hard.
Popcorn, get one of those little bags of Maltesers. Pop them all in, they kind of melt a little bit, salty, sweet, beautiful.
You know what I find bizarre? That we down here in Tasmania get labelled as the freaks. It's just, it confuses me, the fact that we're labelled, the state, as we just came on air, we said about two heads and things of the kind, but you guys are operating with Maltesers in your popcorn. Give me a break.
Nick, this is not a door you want to open. Remember, you're from Tasmania. We have plenty of ammo. Don't open this door. Don't open this door.
Facts, mate. It's probably not a battle I can win, so I'll leave it at that.
But also, don't knock it till you try it. Next time you're at the movies, having a little cuddle, whack out the Maltesers and popcorn.
All right.
I don't know about it.
If it goes to shit, it's on you.
That's all right. I can live with it.
Good man.
I tell you
we'll sleep soundly in our 20-degree weather. Don't worry about them. It's fine.
Come on. That's a low blow, mate.
You are just taking pictures left, right, and centre here. Guys, before we get into it, though, be sure to follow, like, subscribe, wherever you listen to the show. We're on all the socials. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and
LinkedIn. Don't forget about the LinkedIn. For all our
professional making waves on LinkedIn at the minute. You boys got LinkedIn?
Not for Fifth and Dribble.
Not for Fifth and individually, yes.
Individually?
But Fifth and Dribble, no.
Yeah, no.
It has to come. If you business moguls are doing it, then we should do it too.
Yeah,
it's more so done through me personally. We don't have a Fifth and a Daily Dribble account, should I say? But LinkedIn's where it's at, isn't it, boys?
Sure, I'll take your word for it.
So every time we
people are out and about on LinkedIn now. I see it. You had a few people slide in. Here's some motivational quotes. Here's a few things.
Yeah, bloody hell.
We don't have a LinkedIn. We're just plugging your.
No, but I post all that onto my LinkedIn. I'll be the voice of reason on my LinkedIn for the channel here. But guys, let's get into it. We've got a lot to get through today. I just want to start on the news. We spoke about last week on the show, Kenny Atkinson. The news that he was going to become head coach of the Hornets.
Yeah.
This has since done a bit of a backflip here, Lee. He's going to be staying as head assistant coach of the Warriors.
Yeah.
What do you think about this as our resident Hornets fan?
I mean, I'm not happy. I had my hopes up with Kenny because he's a renowned good coach. And we've replaced him with Stevie Clifford, which we fired 3 years ago for James Borrego, and now we fired James Borrego for bloody Steve Clifford. So
that about says it all, Matty B.
That is tough. That is wow.
Yeah. It seems like we're going in circles at this point. You see LaMelo. We've got no care around our boys right now. Miles Bridges is on his IG story drinking lean. Buddy LaMelo Bowl is running red lights.
So really, if you had your way.
Who was the one that got the 40-year-old pregnant and then she's hitting him up for all? Was that PJ?
No, that's PJ.
Come on.
And then Trez with 3 pounds of marijuana.
What
is happening in Charlotte?
Can we just
it's just on an absolute nosedive at the minute. What do you reckon MJ's thinking at the minute? Like, boys from the Fifth and Dribble, Matty Bay Lock, MJ, the most, I guess, aggressive performer, aggressive winner that we've ever seen in the history of sports. And his franchise is going belly up at the minute. What would you be thinking if you were him? He's at the point now where he won't even take selfies with the fans.
I think he's just trying to figure out what lean is. I think he's ferociously Googling what that is, but you can't imagine the big fella be too happy. It was nice at the start of last year when they were playing well. He was out and about. We talked about it. He was getting involved. He actually felt like an NBA guy again, like he was there.
Yeah.
But it's tough to see him go away. But the Steve Clifford hire is really rough, man. The best thing about Atkinson is the culture he brings.
Exactly.
You saw what he did with that Nets team. Yeah. And
developing a team, the way he got the best out of, your Spencer Dinwiddie's, your Jared Allen, and really develop them into a playoff team. It's a big step backwards with Steve Clifford there. That Magic team, when he was head coach, went nowhere. So it certainly doesn't bode well going forward. For the Hornets, it looked so good a week ago, bar the Trez incident.
Yeah.
But she's taken a trip south very, very quickly there.
Yep.
Speaking of, I guess, teams around the league and teams who are kind of maximizing their opportunities, and players, I guess I should say, PJ Tucker is opting out of his $7.5 million contract with the Heat. He's going to enter free agency here. And during the week, we heard that the 76ers were interested in offering a 37-year-old PJ Tucker a 3-year contract at $30 million.
Unbelievable.
Holy Jesus.
PJ Tucker, 37-year-old, and $30 million. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Surely not.
No, surely not. Yeah, indeed.
I didn't know he was 37, to be honest.
37 years old.
No, he's a vet. He's a vet for sure. I guess
he would have. I think he's a vet and then some.
Yeah.
I think you're a vet when you're 32. He's,
Yeah. Still not as expensive as his shoe collection, though, boys. Have we heard about
PJ? That's true. Yeah. That is undefeated. That shoe collection is undefeated.
That's unbelievable. But
true.
That is incredible.
You still think he's got a bit to offer, though?
I mean, what does he have to? He's obviously championship experience. He's got years in the NBA. He's got, I guess, miles under the belt. But if you're paying that much to a guy who's definitely on the back nine, as you would coin, Nick.
Absolutely.
I don't see the logic in it.
Yep.
He's definitely going, if he's going anywhere, he's going to a contender. We know this. He's not going to spend his last few years in the NBA on a bottom dwelling team, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
Is that just, I guess, for you guys at the Fifth and Dribble there, based on, what we've seen him produce over the last couple of seasons, guessing he'll go to a championship contending team. Where do you think he'll end up? And do you think if you're looking at that 3 years, $30 million, is that overs for what you're getting out of 37-year-old PJ Tucker?
Oh, for sure. For sure it's overs. And I don't think that you can put too much into these 76ers rumors because they just got rid of like virtually like PJ Tucker Light and Danny Green. Like they just moved him on to Memphis for D'Anthony Melton. Like, sure, they need to like fix their bench a little bit, but for 30 mil, like especially considering like 2 years of those are going to be guaranteed. And then the last one is like what, maybe a player option. Maybe they can sneak in a team option if they're paying him that much. But at the same time, like, what's he going to give you? Like 7 points a game. He'll shoot above 40% from 3, maybe, and like, I don't know, maybe defend the third best guy. Like he's not what he was.
By the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the crazy thing. But I mean, 40 in the NBA now is like 35 10 years ago. So I guess like I can kind of see it, but I don't think he's worth more than the 7 million that he was going to get this year anyway. I mean, if Kemba Walker's being bought out at 9 million, what the fuck is going on offering him 30 million over 3? Like, what is that about?
I tell you, isn't it a funny world we live in? Like this money, it's just absurd amounts for the players that you're actually getting. You know, like a low benchmark now is 15 million, and that gets you a par player.
And that's the thing, like we hear it, we go, oh, like for a good play, go 10 mil. Oh, that's not bad value. It's like, that's $10 million. Like,
$10 million goes over your head.
Exactly.
Like,
it's a sick world we live in. Well, I guess a guy who's going to be making a bit of money here and who's transitioned spoke about, I think did you guys doubt me a couple of weeks ago when I said the rumors about Jerami Grant going to the Blazers?
No, he was always on
some receipts.
Oh, he's got receipts. Hold on, get the wallet out. Check these.
I'd like to go back and see this.
Officially been announced during the week here. Heading to the Blazers, Jerami Grant will link up with Dame Lillard and Anthony Simons there. Fellas, what do you think about this trade? Like, does this get Portland back into, a playoff team? Are they going to be a play-in team? Where do you think this move will shape them, Matty B and Locke?
If the West wasn't so stacked, I would like it more. But the top of the West is so heavy. I could see them being a low-tier playoff team, maybe probably a play-in at least. I don't think it jets them to a top 5 seed at all. I mean, I like it because if they were set on retooling around Dame, then this was a pretty good move. But long-term wise, I don't really like it.
No, I don't care. I don't care how good Damian Lillard is. Jerami Grant is not putting you. I don't even think he's putting you in the play-in. No, I don't think so. Because
I don't think so either.
Who is it after that? Yusuf Nurkic.
Like Josh Hart.
Maybe Josh Hart. Anthony Simons, you might get
I think
16 a game out of. Like
Go Ingles.
Jingle bells.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, no. So I redact everything that I just said. The Portland Trailblazers will win the championship.
Yes. Thanks for reevaluating.
Joe Ingles will just light the fucking league up.
I'm going to use that
Aussie pride, mate.
No, please don't clip that. Do not put that anywhere. Thank you very much.
It's going straight in the Insta story.
But it's an interesting move. Like we know how good Dame is at his best, but like he has got a hell of a carry job on his hands. And as you said, the West is only getting better. We're going to see Kawhi come back next season. The Clippers are going to be fit and firing. I know look at you guys. The Lakers.
I'll get him started.
Man. You wanted to talk Lakers before. We'll talk little brother all day. That's fine.
We'll talk a little bit of Lakers. Don't you worry. We've got Kyrie Irving coming, mate. Happy days.
Talk about that, bro. He's going to burn every single one of your banners hanging in the rafters.
I tell you what, this is an absolute whirlwind. And kind of, I guess, moving on pretty hastily from the Grant point, but moving ahead to, I guess, Westbrook, Irving, that whole situation, isn't that bizarre? Like these blokes were kind of like, for Kyrie Irving, that whole franchise, the Nets, was built around KD, built around Kyrie, and I guess Harden for a lesser extent, and it could all within 2 years just fully explode.
It's almost a trust thing at the start. You bring in KD, you bring in Kyrie, and you trust that they'll kind of work together, not only with the other players, but with the front office, the coaching staff, to kind of build this culture and hopefully at least get to the finals.
Mate, Kyrie's coach now, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's calling the shots.
He was running sessions after Nash's practice the other day.
That commitment's just gone out the window, and then you think, where's KD going to end up if Kyrie's gone? They're just in shambles now.
Let me pose that as a hypothetical to Roy and then to you guys there. if there were just, a hypothetical trade, Westbrook for Irving, just a straight swap, who is the winner in that trade?
Oh, man, it's so tough because we know that Westbrook is, like, considering what he's done in the past, he's over the hill. But then I don't think that you can trust – I don't think any team can trust Kyrie Irving in a short-term or long-term status. I think even if the Lakers were to get Kyrie Irving, I wouldn't even be confident that they'd see out the season with Kyrie Irving on their roster. He's just that much of a wild card. I don't like Kyrie Irving to the Lakers for your sake at all, Nick. I know he's a talented player when he's out there, but I just don't trust the guy. And I don't think Lakers fans should either.
Boys, Matty B and Locke, what do you think in that hypothetical? Who wins that one? Or no one wins?
Can we say neither? Are we allowed to say neither?
Absolutely.
Us as podcasters win. Us as
content is king.
For sure. Content is king and win-win. I think it's one of those things where it's like it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
Facts.
And if the Lakers are feeling like a gambling man, maybe they go, we know what we're going to get with Westbrook and we don't like it. We're probably not going to like it with Kyrie, but on a small chance that we do. And same thing with the trust there. You hope LeBron can work it out with him.
Yep.
You hope if there's anyone that can get through to Kyrie, it's LeBron.
That's it.
That's literally all you'd be pinning all your hopes on. Holy shit, I hope LeBron can talk some sense into this guy.
That's the thing. As a Lakers fan, it really is. It's such a, it's hard to sleep at night at the minute because any way it goes, it feels, like a pretty bad situation. The only reason I get to sleep at night is knowing that LeBron's in the squad. If you got LeBron on the team, anything's possible. But it's not looking too promising at the minute. Like all this speculation with Westbrook, with Irving, all these moving parts. It's not an ideal time to be a Lakers fan. So
I must ask you: is still anything possible if it's only LeBron on the team? Because you may get 25 games out of Kyrie. Anthony Davis is made of paper. We all know that. So you may get 15. You may get 15 games out of him. Then what are you looking at? You're going to have to give up Taylor Horton-Tucker if you're going to get Kyrie Irving. Then you're looking at what? Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, helping LeBron. You're looking at the same as what happened this year. You're 11th or 12th again. But
you know what? I'm pinning Vegas. LeBron's looking at a short price favorite, I reckon, for MVP. If that's the case, he's going to have to go nucular.
All right, tug the other one. Tug the other one. Go on.
Yeah, no,
I think that's if Kyrie goes, that's a good over-under. Who plays more games for the Lakers, AD or Kyrie?
Oh, mate.
I'm going to say, what, you got a coin to flip?
Considering
it honestly feels like that, doesn't it?
I'll go AD. I'll go AD. But
just because he at least it will probably want to play.
I still don't know. Like, I think you got more hope of Darvin Ham suiting up and fucking
getting back
of them either cracking 40 games. Yeah, maybe.
Ticker, but I tell you what, this off season is going to be electric. Speaking of electric off seasons, let's transition to the NBL, lads. We are notorious JackJumper fans. And here we are talking to Sydney Kings fans, the reigning NBL champions.
This was a tough conversation.
I wasn't going to bring your icy winters back, but I mean, I think it's warmer here because we've got the golden glow of a championship radiating out of Kudos Bank Arena, and it feels about 20 degrees of glow, but I would have to get closer to Homebush to know.
Well, I'm going to pose a question to you little gypsies in a moment. Once I rattle through our exciting news during the week, we officially finished off our roster, signing 2 imports during the week. Rashard Kelly has joined.
Yep.
A new power forward replacing Mikhail McIntosh here. I just want to get this right. He's a 6'7" power forward playing at the minute in the French LMB with the JDA Dijon basket team. 26-year-old. He averaged 11.5 points last season, 6.5 rebounds and 2 assists. And I think he's just going to add a little bit more, not only on the offensive, but also the defensive end than McIntosh. So he was our first signing during the week, which has put us in good shape. We then backed it up the other day with the signing to complete the roster of Milton Doyle. He will be our new shooting guard, 6'4". He's had experience with the Brooklyn Nets, played 10 games with them, as well as their affiliate G League team. And then in the 17-18 season, or that was in the 17-18 season, should I say, In the 2019 season, he went to the Chicago Bulls, the Windy City Bulls there, averaged 17.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. He's also played in Spain, Turkey, and Italy. And he'll fill the role now of Josh Adams. So, fellas, from the Daily Dribble team, we've got our 2 new imports, replacing McIntosh and Adams with Kelly and Doyle. How do we feel about these moves? Ro, for yourself, I know, Lee, you're coming aboard the NBL train, aren't you, mate? But Ro,
slow and steady.
Slow and steady indeed.
What did you think of these moves here, Ro?
Yeah, very positive moves. Milton Doyle, he's got big shoes to fill, doesn't he? Like Joshy Adams.
Big shoes.
Huge loss. We know he, at times, like we've said it throughout the season, he's probably been like a top 5 guy at times throughout the season. Yep. So Milton Doyle, he'll come in with huge expectations this season.
A good pedigree behind him as well.
I think he's got the experience. He's got the pedigree, as you'll mention. He's got the NBA talent.
Yep.
I think JackJumpers fans, we're pretty tolerant though. I feel like in terms of he might take a little while to get going and gel up with the boys, but I'm really happy with those imports, particularly Doyle with the NBA experience. I think you can never look past senior experience like that. So really happy. Just
before I transit, or Lee, for yourself, happy with these signings as you embrace the NBL next season?
I mean, just by ear, Doyle sounds like the big name, no?
Absolutely. Yes.
I think Chicago Bulls, you said 7.
Well, he played with the Brooklyn Nets. He was with the G League affiliate team there for the Chicago Bulls.
G League. I was going to say.
But still an incredible league in its own right. Boys from the Fifth and Dribble, let me pose this to you. So we've got these 2 key imports coming in. Will Magnay back and healthy. What do you think your chances are of duplicating your efforts from last season? NBL champion.
Back to back. We're going back to back. Did you not see that? Did you not see that? NBL all second team Xavier Cooks resigned. The X-Man, he's back.
Unfortunately, we did that. Yep.
Did you not see that DJ the Sniper re-signed as well?
Don't
DJ. Enemy number 1.
Did you not see? Did you not see Handsome Man Brucey is back as well?
He's a show favorite, Brucey.
Come on. You want to talk about your Windy City Bulls? They don't have NBL championship pedigree. So, let's just get out of here.
I tell you what, in good news for both of us, though, we saw during the week as well, JLA, Joe Luala-Chul, won't be re-signing with Melbourne United. I tell you what, for the league though, big loss.
Huge loss
for both of our franchises. A big plus there.
I'm really hoping this begins the downfall of United and Perth. They got a lot of front office stuff going on their end.
Perth hopefully, world of strife, aren't they? They lost Scotland during the week. And
it's like they've had one average season in the last 30 years and they can't hack it.
Where's the championship fight in them? It's not there.
I know.
I believe it's located at Kudos Bank Arena, like I said before. golden glow coming from Homebush.
Home of Australian basketball.
Home of Australian basketball. Yes, thank you very much.
I tell you what, as much as I feel like we're like these couple of podcasts we've had together, the chemistry is building, no doubt about it. And we spoke about last time our travel fund for, I guess, either us coming up there or you coming down here, watching a game between the Kings and JackJumpers. I feel as if at that point, it might be the kind of, the breakup of our two, I guess, our relationship, because I feel there might be fists thrown. Like,
I thought that was more going to be like our third date. Really.
Yeah.
that was the vibes we were kind of going to be having.
You thought you were getting a second base, Lockie.
Mate, I thought, all I can do is hope.
But I tell you what, it's going to be a wicked season in the NBL. Like, as we said, the league, the last couple of years, it's going from strength to strength. I don't want to harp on the JackJumpers point, but just outline, by the talent that we're getting now, we'll touch on in a minute with the draft, some of the talent that's going to the NBA this season really just, I guess, gives more credibility to the league. It's really in such great shape at the minute. The talent it's, getting in and also exporting there. It's a wicked league. There's so many teams, so much talent on it. The Kings absolutely front and center of that, but a lot of teams coming in behind, a lot of quality players within the league.
Indeed. Yeah, and I think that was on show on draft day, wasn't it? Like, I know we are going to touch on it a little bit, but the talent of the NBL, not just in the draft, but a few of the undrafted guys that will come after, that's going to be massive.
Huge.
Absolutely. Yep. Fellas, let's move ahead.
The Daily Dribble.
And just discuss the NBL. NBL's on the brain. The NBA finals, should I say. The Warriors winning that one 4-2. We're a week on now from that point. What did you fellas make of the series as a whole? What were your initial thoughts on the series?
Well, as you would have seen over at Fifth and Dribble, the Golden State Warriors are dogs. They are absolute dogs.
So, Matty B, before we had the technical issues, you were just touching on the Warriors there, mate.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we did have technical issues because I could go and finish when I was thinking about Stephen Curry. That boy and that team, fucking dogs, like I was saying. Like so great that they have 4. It pains me a little bit because I was on the bandwagon well before. Like they had Monte Ellis and David Lee when I used to support them, and then I jumped ship, and then they became really, really good. So I mean, I'm
you
good
look
luck
like an idiot now.
Yeah, look, that's fine. At least I don't support the Tasmanian JackJumpers, so it's okay. Look, it is what it is. But no, the Warriors, fantastic. You know, to go from relying on Klay for 25 points per game to, only 16 and coming off the 1,000 days of not playing, playoff basketball. Sorry, I'm in a football mind. Playoff basketball for that long. Steph Curry, this is his LeBron ring where he had to physically drag his boys. Draymond Green showing up and then fouling out, then showing up and then fouling out, not knowing what you're getting from him. And I think you really saw the growth of Steve Kerr, pulling Draymond, throwing out Otto Porter Jr. to start, giving great minutes to Kevon Looney. So I think it was a fantastic fight by the Celtics, give them their shamrocks where they deserve it. However, fuck Boston at the end of
the day. For yourself, Locke, did you think, we kind of spoke about that last week when we did our finals recap? We just mentioned it felt like, the Warriors just had so many more options to deploy. Boston were running with 5.5 guys. Derek White's at half a guy. Grant Williams was a non-factor, as was the rest of their bench. Whereas the Warriors just kept finding guys. Bielitsa was getting minutes. Looney, Otto Porter coming off. Iguodala got a few minutes here and there. They just had so many more avenues to pursue. For yourself, Locke, do you think that was the defining factor in the series?
I do, yeah. We talked about it on our finals recap. We kind of said that it's they just need a few more guys, Boston, to put out there. There was the thing about the Warriors is they're so versatile, right? They killed the Celtics in a few different ways. They killed them being big, putting Kevon out there. Then they pulled Kevon out there and had Otto Porter and kind of killed him that way. Whereas the Celtics can only win one way, playing their way. And as soon as there was a spanner in the works there, it kind of threw them for a loop. And they did well. They did well to do what they did. And there was part of me that when it was game 5, I was like, you know what? They've been in this situation before. They've had to win the last 2 to win the series. I thought maybe there's a chance. But then game 6, the Warriors didn't let that happen.
Dogs. That game 4, wasn't it, Lee? That game 4 where the Celtics had it, and that fourth quarter, that's where the switch flipped. It turned to shit, lost that one. They could have been 3-1 up. And from there, the series just, it did a complete 180. I know we spoke about this last week, but for the Celtics, we spoke about what moves they need to make, things of the kind. Would you bet on the Celtics making the NBA Finals next season?
Wouldn't bet on it. No. I say they've got a better chance than a lot of teams in the league. But
the East is coming up now, isn't it? It's because the West is ridiculously deep. It's almost 12 strong at the moment. But the East is starting to find its feet as well. So
I'd have a lot more faith in Golden State making it to the finals opposed to the Celtics in the East.
Let's say next year then the East. Who have you got over them?
Jeez,
on the spot.
God, early predictions.
I reckon I'll have the Bucks over them because I think with Chris Middleton they would have won that series.
Yeah.
It's hard with the Nets because you don't know what's going to transpire over the next couple of weeks and things of the kind. I think the Heat are in a really good position as well. It didn't come together this season, but I still think with the talent they've got, they'll be in and around the mix. Your Phillies. There's still a lot of talent within the East, so I likewise probably wouldn't bet on them. Unless they make a couple of moves this off-season. Here's a question I've got for you guys. So we saw, I don't know if you guys saw the NBA at the parade, and it kind of, we saw quite a lot of action from that. Klay was absolutely man of the match on that front. But I had a quick question to pose to all of us here. Out of both teams, and I guess more specifically the Warriors being winners, who is the one player that you would most want to share a beer with out of those two squads?
Both squads.
Yeah, we'll say both squads, the Celtics and Warriors.
And we can pick one from each.
No, just one,
Okay,
one total.
Jeez, give me one.
What do you reckon?
I don't know if I'm picking like as a mate or as a basketball player.
Or you want to be like, what a cool story I had.
Yeah, exactly. Who are you gonna like when you? Because
I'd say from a mate's standpoint instead of bet, because you could just go the easy route.
Because you're both going to be trolleyed. So what's the one you're gonna have? Who's the bloke you're gonna have the most fun with?
Oh, the bloke I'm gonna have the most fun with is gonna be Klay for sure. Like
Klay?
that dude only knows how to have a good time. I mean, Lachlan's not the biggest Klay Thompson fan, but that's because Lachlan doesn't like to have fun. But it's
don't like fun and don't like threes.
Nah, he doesn't. He's an old man that just likes to play in the paint.
Play in the paint. Use that big body.
But yeah, no, I mean Klay he's always vibing. He's always having a good time. Like let's have a few little fat lambs with Klay. Why not?
That word you just use, vibe. Like vibe. He is a vibe, isn't he? Like
yeah,
just the way he went about his business. He was on a different planet to everyone else.
Who are you having a beer with?
To be honest, I was as I kind of came up with the question during the week, I was kind of running through all the players, and of course Steph, he's going to be great. Chatting to one of the maybe the top 10 greatest players of all time. It's a hard one.
You can shorten that list up. He's probably top 5. He's probably getting close to Mount Rushmore material, I think.
We're getting there, aren't we? But I just say Klay as well, just from the way he was on that NBA grade. Like, I tell you what, once I have a couple of drinks, I just start to lose control. And I think he was kind of similar. So I reckon he would be the guy, right?
Yeah, look, I don't want to sound too bloody predictable, but yeah, Klay would be the bloke. But like, just imagine your mates with Draymond Green as well. Like a lot of the NBA community.
Podcast hookup?
Yeah, potentially. Like we yeah, absolutely. But just imagine your mates with Draymond Green. Like a lot of the NBA community probably don't like him.
Yeah.
Particularly those who aren't Golden State fans. But if he was your mate and you were out with Draymond on the town after a few frothies, geez, I reckon that'd be a long night.
Yeah, bloody long night, absolutely. But yeah, I tell you what, this finals, although it went 6 games and, for the most part, all the games were blowouts, 10 plus points. It really was an exciting series. And I think we did get the 2 best teams in it. Would you fellas agree, based on this season, that it were the two best teams?
I think 2 best teams would have been Lakers and Nets. That would have been a series I wanted to watch. In all seriousness, I think it was such a weird year. Like, we're so used to all these super teams, there being one standout team, at least in each, kind of in each conference. I would be very, very surprised if they didn't make the finals.
Like betting against LeBron, isn't it? You just drive him already.
Exactly. Like this year felt pretty open. But I think we definitely, by the end of the season, they were the 2 best in each conference. Like, we saw Phoenix just absolutely, like, I don't even know what they did in the playoffs there. Like, all the way up until the playoffs, I would have said they were the best.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, if you can't win in the playoffs, what are you doing?
Fell asleep at the wheel.
I saw this thing on the JJ Redick podcast in terms of that Phoenix Game 7 against Mavs. So it was in Phoenix, and he was pretty much saying, do you reckon there's like a lot of pressure, especially in Game 1 and Game 7, if you're at home, that you're expected to win that game, and that can be like sometimes the downfall?
Well, I think their downfall was the Game 6 because they got absolutely butt raped in that as well.
But in terms of Game 7, do you reckon? I reckon that plays a big part. Just that as an NBA player, you'd obviously have to overcome that kind of those expectations to win. But for me, I feel like it'd play a part. Being at home, Game 7, you're they're the moments
you live for. You live for that. You gotta live for that. Like, that is what dreams are made of, having that opportunity. I think they've just completely lost the plot there. Yeah. Like these blokes over here, you've lost the plot, fellas.
Nah, so I had to mute it. I had the cough coming, and I was like, I didn't know if Matty could start talking. I was like, I had to chuck the mic on mute. We're sharing the mic today.
You're a true professional, Lockie.
Two blokes, one mic. I didn't want to.
Can you turn that into a video too, please?
Oh man, I don't think we get many views on that one.
I think you'll agree.
We don't want to get cancelled before we get big. So
granted, that could be your ticket to success.
If it works for Kim Kardashian, it works for me. So I mean, anything's possible.
I can see the similarities, Matty.
Amen to that.
I don't have hair you can tug during, so it's it's gonna be an issue.
Stick it to the back of his skull.
Yeah, just get up in there.
What are wigs for then?
Yeah.
Fellas, we might move ahead then to the NBA draft that occurred during the week.
The Daily Dribble.
So this was like, for all intensive purposes, it felt like it was a pretty almost locked in draft until about 24 hours before.
Not even 24 hours.
It came around pretty quickly, the news that hold on, we better just, I'm scared to do this because I've got little Twigs' arms.
Oh, here we
What
go.
are you doing?
What is going on? What is going on?
Oh my goodness!
Unbelievable.
Look out.
Where's that from?
So this is from work. She's a small as well, so it's a tight fit. I got it as a freebie. So
It's magnifying the biceps as well, I must say.
Pretty slim fit. Oh, come on, here we go.
Here we go.
You want to have a flex off, Matty? Oh, this is dangerous. I don't think
He's getting his kid off. But I mean, are you on the Orlando bandwagon now? Are you?
Mate, I've kind of got about it, don't I? Partly because they're a breeding ground for the Lakers. We've seen the last couple of number one picks they've had. Dwight Howard, Big Shaq.
Yes.
Both come to the Lakers. Could Banchero be on the way as well?
Oh.
My guy.
Absolutely.
What's happening?
Twinsies.
There it is.
Twinsies.
Quit it. Oh, we couldn't have scripted this any better.
Do you guys want to get a room or?
There we go.
I'm already in a room with another man, unless he wants to join in on the menage a trois.
Let me just check what the Jetstar timetable's doing.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, like, it was a phenomenal draft. I'll rip through the top. I was going to say top.
Do top 15.
We'll do the top 15 real quick here, and then just discuss any other talking points from that. Number 1 was Paolo Banchero to the Orlando Magic. Number 2, Chet Holmgren to the Thunder.
To the Thunder.
Ooh, just quickly, how about him and Poku together? A couple of string beans.
Bruh, thin towers. Watch out. It's happening.
Dangerous. Jabari Smith went number 3. Keegan Murray 4 to the Kings. Jaden Ivey went 5th to the Pistons. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep.
Went number 6 to the Pacers. Shadon Sharp, number 7 to the Blazers. Our man Dyson Daniels, number 8.
Double D's, baby.
Just quickly, what did I say about 12 months ago? Top 5.
I think you said top 10.
Top 10.
You said top 10.
I'll take that. That's very good. Number 8.
That was the Lakers picnic that they used to get him too.
Just shut up for a minute.
I love it. Hit a nerve there, mate.
Just shut up. I don't want to talk about the Lakers anymore tonight because I know anything that we say is not going to be good for me. So number 9 was Jeremy Sochin to the Spurs.
He's got cool hair, that guy.
He does.
10 was it? Number 10, you big Johnny Davis.
Johnny Davis.
Davis to the Wizards.
Yep, love
number 11, Ousmane Deng.
That's your boy.
He went to the Knicks, got traded to OKC.
Yep.
Number 11. Oh, no, that was number 11, should I say. Number 12, Jalen Williams went to OKC. 13, Jalen Duren.
JD.
Was that you, Lee?
No, that was right.
That was right as well.
That was me. Yeah.
Your boy's right.
I mean, he got drafted by Hornets, went to Knicks, and then got traded to Detroit.
Anyone want to say number 14?
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okai Agbaj.
Oh, it's O'Shea Agbaji. We actually watched of the 4 college games we watched, 3 of them were of him. So
there you go.
That's why
just by happenstance. O'Shea Agbaji.
And number
that is the
15 was
only
the most
contribution
basic
we can
white
make
boy
to
name
draft talk.
ever. Mark
Yeah.
Williams. Charlotte Hornets. So there was the top 15. Lads, how do we feel about that? Just quickly, we'll start on Banchero.
Yeah, start top 3.
Let's start with the top 3.
Look, I didn't expect Banchero to go 1. I thought he was going to go 3. I thought it was going to go Jabari, Chet, Banchero.
Yep.
But I guess you look at what Banchero brings to Orlando Magic, and I guess he brings that culture that they're looking to build around him.
Yeah,
I like it. You can't hate on it.
His suit was a bit of a flex there, though, wasn't it?
I liked it.
That was
loud.
That was a loud move. Do you reckon you guys could pull that off? Something that loud?
I don't know if we could, but we'd try it.
You guys
don't die wondering, but we'd give it a crack.
Give it a go. We'd give it a go for sure.
So, Matty, seeing as you and I are synced up here in the Orlando tops, bit of Orlando pride here, mate. Like, what do you think of this move? Do you think this was the right move for them? Because it kind of felt like Chet was always going to go number 2, and it was kind of a toss-up between Jabari and Paolo there for that number 1 spot. Do you think they went the right way?
I think the thing that Orlando has been lacking is probably a forward, and I would say Paolo's probably more of a 3 than a 4. He might have the size of a 4, but he moves like a 3.
Moves like a 3.
Chet to me made no sense because I mean they've already got Mo and Wendell Carter Jr. there, so like why would they clog it up even further? And I mean Jabari Smith, great things obviously coming out of Auburn, but Paolo was on the stage. Like it's Duke. This is Duke basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
At one point or another, the guy that is on more nationally televised TV games is going to be selected.
Magic.
Yeah, and then go to the Orlando Magic.
But I hope you enjoyed it while they lasted.
Yeah, not that many anymore.
But you think about it, you got guys like Terrence Ross in front of you. Like, you know, you got no issues playing over him. I think they're building a nice young core there, obviously. Like our boy Suggs, obviously like Franz Wagner, the best Wagner. And
they have the other Wagner too.
They have the best and the worst Wagner.
Yeah.
Mo Bamba obviously took a bit of a leap last year. Wendell Carter Jr. I think they're doing like good things over there.
Cole Anthony over there as well.
Yeah, Cole does all right as well. I just think that like they need and Paolo may be that guy, but they need their out and out superstar that is going to take all the criticism. He's going to take everything and like his jersey is going to be like armor. Like he's just like, I hate to get, metaphorical and keep the Superman homage going in Orlando. But I mean, Shaq took a lot of the criticism and, some of it bounced off his chest. Other stuff pushed him to Los Angeles. Dwight took a lot of the criticism and they built the team around him and they saw, sustained success. Yeah. Where did his career die? Did you mean? Yeah. Los Angeles is where it died.
I knew I shouldn't have said anything because anyway.
Then about 7 other teams. Yeah.
Bad news.
But I mean, if Chet can be, not Chet, if Paolo can be that guy that just, absorbs all the pressure, the criticism and can still, come out and give you I'm not even asking for like a crazy, because I mean, Evan Mobley had a crazy uptick this year, obviously, but even like a Scotty Barnes that like we weren't really expecting anything amazing from him, but he still gave us 15, 6 and 6. Like if he can have something like that and just be a stable head in the locker room, then sky's the limit at the end of the day.
Lock for yourself. What do you think of this movie? Do you think it was the right pick for the Magic there, mate?
I do think, I think out of those top 3 guys, as you said, Chet was probably locked into 2. Yeah. He's got the highest all around quote unquote like superstar potential. Like I really like Jabari Smith, and I think it's kind of hard to judge him at Auburn with the guards that he had there.
Yep.
But I mean, Paolo could really be anything, and you can't win a championship without probably a top 5 or 6 guy, at least like a top 10 guy to get into the finals. And I think he has that upside out of those 3.
That's the thing with this draft. Like I guess to yourself, Lee and Rowe, like it just feels as I guess compared to other years, it feels like a draft where there's. There might be one real standout player. There's going to be a lot of good players as opposed to superstars. It's going to be a well-rounded, I don't think we'll be looking at a Luka Doncic or a LeBron level player. But there's going to be a lot of really good quality, I guess role players for lack of better words. But do you guys see, like, I think Chet certainly got that superstar potential just with his frame if it all comes together.
Yeah, it just scares me. There's so many red flags. Like
that's it.
More often than not, it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
And it's like OKC are in a position where they can gamble on it because obviously they have a million picks and they're going to pick every their next pick is like 10 years old somewhere. They've got his draft. They're just good to go. Like they can take that gamble. Whereas a few other teams, you don't get it often. If you get the first, if you get a top 3 pick, you just got to take the guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's and I guess for yourself, Roy Lee, do you see superstar potential in this draft?
I don't know about I guess the potential is there. Whether they're going to reach it or not, that's a different question. As you were mentioning before, I think we've just got I reckon there's a few certainties in this draft in terms of they're going to be multiple all-stars throughout the course of their career. Like Chet Holmgren, as we were mentioning, I think he's probably got the highest potential of everyone, but then there's probably also a bit of uncertainty around him as well, because we've seen these kind of frames go either way. Like, will he turn into perhaps potentially, I heard comparisons of a Kristaps Porzingis. Will he turn into...
That's not great news.
Yeah, it's not absolutely not great news, is it? Like, if you're paying up for a number 2 pick, alternatively, will he turn into someone like a you know, this is sort of like going up the high end of the scale. Will he turn into like a KD, like a really tall perimeter type player? There are a few, I reckon, lock all starts, particularly at that 1 and 3 spot. I'm really intrigued to see what happens with Chet Holmgren.
Yep.
And also, like, I don't know how much we can touch on him, but I reckon my rookie of the year next year.
Oh, here we go. Do it early. Get it in.
I love the early picks.
I like it.
Wow.
Let's do it.
It's not coming in the top 3 either. My rookie of the year next year, number 5, Jaden Ivey.
This is a fantastic pick. I love Jaden Ivey.
He's been getting heaps of talk the last couple of days, just before the draft. He is really starting to turn some heads. I think that's a wicked pick.
I think so as well. And I know he looks like Ja Morant, but for goodness sake, like he plays like him as well. Like he's lightning quick. You can just see he's going to take the league by storm, and I'm really keen to see what he can provide.
Well, while we're at it, Lee, may as well rookie of the year pick early, mate. Get in early.
Getting early. I've always, especially in that top 3, I've always been pretty high on Jabari Smith Jr. I think out of the whole draft, he's probably going to be the name that sticks out. In terms of Chet, everyone, we've heard that his ceiling is high, but I think if his ceiling's low, he goes pretty low. Like, you know what I mean?
So you think his floor is like rock bottom?
Yeah.
He's a boom or bust type player, I reckon. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like my pick with Giddy the other, like a couple of years ago, and I mentioned, his potential. I'm going to keep riding the Dyson Daniels train. I think it'd almost be criminal if I deviated from him. I'm stoked that he went to the Pelicans. I think it's a perfect
fit.
It's a great system. It's a great system for him.
Yeah.
It's a great system for him, and I think he will get the chance to flourish as well. I think he'll be given opportunity. So, I think I'm just going to ride the hot hand and stick with Daniels there.
Yeah, I love that.
Fellas, Locke, Matty, what have you got? Early hot takes here. Early, very, very early, but who have you got for rookie of the year?
Well, I certainly don't have Keegan Murray because the franchise that he went to is an absolute bin.
Yep, facts.
Look, I really like the shout of Jaden Ivey. And it's kind of on the back of the Sacramento Kings being a bin franchise. I read something the other day, and it's just verbatim. It's only coming to the dome now. Of the last 7 drafts or last 11 drafts or something, the pick after the Kings has always turned into a superstar.
What was it?
It's like Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson.
Because they took Jimmer for debt, didn't they? They went Jimmer and
they took Jimmer. I think Kawhi came after them as well. Like just absolute brain move. And I mean, Kawhi's a little bit different because he was out of the lottery, and that's okay. The man's a unicorn. We love him. Clipper Nation, stand up. But I really love the pick of Jaden Ivey. I think the thing that Detroit obviously won the draft day, and what they're building with their youth just allows for him to flourish so much. Like if they can keep Beef Stew in this fringe Clint Capella role, and Cade Cunningham can keep growing, and they can put some shooters around. Obviously, like Jaden Ivey's I think he's got the most area to succeed.
Well, let's actually touch on the Pistons for a bit, because they're a team. I know we spoke a little bit. Was it today? The day's blur into one.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about it earlier today, the Pistons, and I think they're probably one of the most watched teams, just because they're the team within the 30 that have the largest cap space available at the moment. No, there's a lot of talk at the moment. They got Kemba. He's going to be a buyout candidate there in the free agency market. But DeAndre Ayton is the name really heavily linked with them.
I've seen that float. That could be giant for them. That would be such a good young core.
I tell you,
I think I know a couple, like we've talked about Ivy a little bit already, but just like on a side note there, from what I saw from the reports I saw, he refused to work out for any of the top 4 picks. He only worked out for Detroit and lower because he wanted to go to Detroit. So really, when you think about that, he could have been someone that went 4, or maybe he sneaks into the 3rd spot, right? Like maybe teams fall in love with him, and you get that value at number 5.
Just on that, as you speak about that, like working out with teams and things, just as a little segue there before we go back to Detroit, the fact that Banchero didn't actually have a workout or a formal meeting with the Orlando Magic, and they still took him one.
Yeah,
how's that?
Yeah, they must be
reading that. I was like, "Ooh, that is some big dick energy to still just put the house on him essentially. So
it's a question mark of a franchise, really. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. But I guess back on the Pistons, do you think, Ro, like if you were to flip a coin, would you say that by the season start, Ayton will be on the Detroit Pistons? Yes or no?
There's been a lot of talk about it, hasn't there? And if I was DeAndre Ayton, like it really depends what he's looking at doing, because I still think, and I think most NBA fans would agree, that the Phoenix Suns will still be up there for at least the next few years. I think it's going to be very dependent on, I guess, what level CP3 is playing at, because I think since he's came over to the Phoenix Suns, they've sort of turned the corner in terms of being championship contenders. To answer your question, I think DeAndre is probably staying at the Phoenix Suns. I think he's looking at potentially a championship over the next few years. But if he did go to the Detroit Pistons, where, like, a question back at you, where does that put the Detroit Pistons going forward? Like, particularly next year and over the next few years, are they in playoff contention next year?
I don't think they're in playoff contention, but I like the fact that they're young core at the minute. You got Stewart, you got Bagley. DeAndre Ayton is a huge upgrade on that. You pair him alongside Cade over the next couple of seasons. Sadiq Bey alongside them. They've got pieces to work with. So, and with the cap space they've got, I think they're in a really good position. I don't think they're certainly playoff championship contenders in the next year or two, but I think over the next 5 years or so, if they actually make that move, it bodes well for them. Lee, for yourself?
I reckon, in terms of DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah, and for the Pistons as a whole, if they make that move?
I reckon he's going to end up there, to be honest, by the start of the season, just because you can see the direction they're heading in, and it's upwards.
And the Suns are cheapskates.
They're not cheapskates, but I reckon he's got more to offer over at Detroit. I personally see Detroit coming into this season the same as I saw Cleveland coming into last season, where they were kind of pretty shit the season before, but then you looked at the moves they made in the offseason, how they got Evan Mobley in the draft, and you're like, hang on, these Cleveland Cavaliers could probably be something. Similar with the Detroit Pistons. I see Cade Cunningham, I see Jaden Ivey, I see Duran, who was picked up in the draft.
Yep.
And then if DeAndre Ayton goes over there, I'm not saying they're making it to the finals, even the playoffs, but I think they're definitely heading in the right direction.
Well, for yourself, fellas over there, do you see, Big Sava over there, all the cloud that surrounds him that's still ongoing at the moment? Like, do you think the Suns will actually shell out? Like, they had the opportunity this season and they didn't take it. Do you think that Ayton will remain with the Suns?
He may in the short term, but I don't think more than the next 2 seasons he'll be there.
I think pissed off, isn't he? He'd be pissed.
I think he is, and even if you agree rightfully or not, he should be pissed off. Like, it is what it is. It's a business at the end of the day. If people don't want to pay that, then they don't want to pay it.
Yep.
But I think even if they can't get an Ayton and he chooses to re-sign, you've given yourself plenty of pieces to go out and get someone.
Yep.
You've got cap space. You've got a few young guys. Like, say Phoenix do re-sign him, and maybe you use Duran to go get him next year or next offseason. Maybe you flip him because, he's going to be a lot less money. Phoenix might want that.
Absolutely.
It's not about the short term for Detroit. I don't want him to try and go, oh, man, we really need to get in the playoffs now. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
We have this young core. Maybe let's try and aim to be competitive in most of our games.
Yep.
Let's try and put a good product on the floor. If we get a play in, awesome. Happy days. And then, kind of build from there over the next coming years.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, they're in a good building phase. They're in a really good position. It's like OKC at the minute. They're building towards something. It's not in the next year. It's not in the next probably 2 years. But for the next 5 to 10 years, that's going to be their area to really thrive. I tell you what, it's only ended a week ago, but I cannot wait for next season, both on the NBL, the NBA front. There is a lot to look forward to here, isn't there, fellas?
October's going to come so quick.
It will
isn't
come
it?
Very quick.
Facts.
Very quick.
We're nearly into July now as we speak. It's incredible, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge. Just quickly for all of you fellas, who do you think were the biggest losers of this draft? There were some,
the Knickerbockers.
In my opinion, there were some pretty obvious winners, but there were some pretty obvious losers as well. Knickerbockers?
Yeah,
I would
Knickerbockers
wholeheartedly agree
just
with that.
continue to make a meal of everything they touch.
Do they just because They didn't like anyone from the draft. They decided to move a first-round pick into 3 future first-round picks. They got rid of Kemba Walker's contract to loosen up a little bit for maybe Jalen Brunson. Kyrie might come over the way. Like,
I think they blew it with Usman Deng though. I spoke about him a week or two ago now, and I like him. I'm a big fan. Got the opportunity to see him courtside this year. I was absolutely buckled, but I saw a bit of him. So I nearly passed out in my chair. I think they missed a
scouting report.
The little bits that I did see through Twitter guys were really good. I see reasons, as you said, just Matty, that they might almost be a winner. But I think they're almost a franchise in turmoil at the minute. After the success they had a year or two ago, getting that home court advantage, everything looks rosy. Even last season, that first week or two, leading the Eastern Conference. And just since then, it's been a downwards trajectory. And they've kind of almost lost that allure of being almost a destination. Whereas 12 months ago, they did have that allure, almost, a playoff hopeful.
They almost got KD because of it, right? Like there was
they were never getting KD.
Yeah, I think
they were never getting KD. But the Knicks have historically been this franchise. They've gone after high-end free agents. They got Amore Stoudemire. He punched a fire extinguisher, broke his hand, and they've been in a 10-year. They've been in a 10-year slump since then. They tried to do the same thing with Jordan when he wanted to leave the Bulls in the 90s. So it's just the Knicks being the Knicks. I just like the fact that they're not. Granted, they should rush a little bit more, but they're not rushing in the sense of like they're trusting in what they see in RJ Barrett. Yep. Whether you trust Julius Randle or not, I don't necessarily agree with that either. But they're sticking by their guys. Should never have stuck by Evan Fournier. Get him the fuck out of New York.
Yep.
But they actually have assets. Like growing up watching the NBA, it was this big joke that the Knicks never had assets, and that's now the Lakers. But the Lakers will never have that issue because they have 18.
Shut up, Matty.
But they'll always. My point is they'll always be a destination because they have 18 championships and the Knicks don't, right? So exactly. They don't need that kind of capital. They've got it all hanging on the wall. But yeah, just for the Knicks, like. Certainly they didn't win. They did lose, but I think people are just blowing it way fucking out of proportion than what it needs to be.
I think they're doing that due to the history, right? Like if this was a well-run franchise that had done this, he'd be like, look how smart they are. They kind of moved back down, turned into future assets. They kind of have a plan because they never have a plan. I don't believe they have one now. I don't think Leon Rose woke up one day and just went, I know how to fix this. I think they're just kind of just like, I remember probably 3-4 years ago, they signed a whole lot of people on 2-year deals, and it was just after Kristaps. So what, 2 years ago, Kristaps got traded? They signed a whole lot of people 2-year deals. They're like, sweet, we don't really like any of these free agents now. We'll get 2-year deals, some of them with 1-year player options, so we can go again next year. Exactly. And then they got no one.
And it's just continually kicking at the minute, doesn't it? Like everything that's not nailed down, RJ Barrett is almost up for relocation. He feels as if the only piece at the minute that kind of feels set to the franchise. They're in an interesting position. I hope, we spoke about this, I know, here on the podcast the other, a couple of months ago when they were actually relevant. The league is better when the Knicks are relevant.
I couldn't agree more. How good were all those Bing Bong videos, Side Talk New York?
Bing Bong.
Fuck Trae Young.
It was so good when they're good, man.
I hope they get it together because the league, these big market teams, it is good for the league. It's good for viewership. All the owners, all the, executives are happy when money's coming in, and money's coming in when the Knicks, the Lakers, the Warriors, all these franchises are good. So certainly hope they pull their finger out and get something done.
Yeah, definitely.
Fellas, it has been an absolute privilege to have you on again today. I know it certainly won't be the last time. Off season now, there's a lot of things in the works. Before we wrap up, Lee, Ro, I know you guys are going on a little holiday now as we speak. So just
put the annual leave in, boys.
Annual leave.
Yes, put my annual leave in. Got it approved.
Man's approved it. No, just quickly, just to you guys before you go on leave, just on the podcast here, a big thank you for all your continued efforts during the year.
That's right.
Probably don't say it enough, but I certainly appreciate everything you guys do.
And to the listeners, whenever I watch like a YouTuber or another podcast go on break, they say, "Oh, go
No,
on."
fuck that. We're not going on break. I'll still be here. Nail it down.
but they never really have a destination for when they'll be back. Like we have certainty that we're going to be back a little bit before the season starts. All right. So
Yeah,
is that the same with the Euro?
We need to work out the finer
I was
details.
about to say, do I have a couple of months on my own here?
You'll have an extended
We
period.
got you, bro. Don't worry
What
about
do you
it.
get? Isn't it annual leave's 4 weeks for the year?
No,
you
we got
guys,
3
you
months.
booked in for 3 months, Lee. Holy shit.
I'll be back before the season.
Long
starts.
service, baby. Long service leave. All right.
Good unions
No,
down there.
so-
I think we take into account, like, I don't know if you blokes know this, but we've been doing this for pretty much 2.5 years, pretty much nonstop. We've taken the odd week
Every
off.
Saturday, pretty much.
So I think it just sort of shows the dedication that we have to the podcast and what we want it to become going forward. Yes, we'll have a bit of time to refresh over the off season, which I think will be beneficial for everyone. But yeah, no, it's been a really good season, really exciting season.
A lot to look forward to next season as well. We've got big
absolutely.
things in the work. For you guys out there, be sure to stay tuned each week because I'll be here. I'll fly the flag. We've got a lot coming in the next few weeks. I'm going to start our season gradings for all 30 teams. We're going to start probably next week with the East, the following week with the West, just based on our predictions at the start of the season and just rip through it from there. Lads, from the Fifth and Dribble, as we said, we'll no doubt have you guys on again soon. A lot to look forward to there. Guys, where can everybody find you?
Look, everywhere. Literally everywhere.
How about LinkedIn?
Except LinkedIn. We're everywhere but LinkedIn. You know,
No one likes a smart ass, right?
Come on, Lockie. Come on, Lockie.
you can find us on Facey, Twitter, Instagram, and you can find the NBL Championship trophy in Kudos Bank Arena. So that's where you can find us. And that's where you can find it.
Time to shut up now. Thanks, Matty. But again, the boys from Fifth and Dribble doing fantastic things for the NBA, the NRL. Your one-stop shop for all the news. We certainly appreciate them coming on. Guys, from Matty, from Locke, from Lee, Rowe, who are going on holiday, big thank you, fellas. Be sure to stay up to date with all of our socials for all the latest news. Subscribe wherever you listen to the show to get my hot little individual drop next week. I can't wait. I'm pumped up. I'm going to get pissed and drop it like it's hot.
Yeah, good boy.
Guys, a big thank you. Till next week. Love you. Bye.